Good afternoon. It is August 26th, 2025. You're listening to a little of column A, little of column B, hosted by Will Alimonos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How are you doing today, buddy?
What is going on, Will? We are here. Past week 0, we are getting into week 1. I was able to watch real live football. You poo-pooed it. You said, this is amateur, but you don't even like college football. It doesn't matter to you. It was ranked football. It was real ranked football. It started right at noon. It was happening over in Ireland across the pond. It was raining like crazy. The paint they put on the field deteriorated almost immediately. There was a fumble recovery on like the first snap or so. Not far after that, there was a muffed punt. I mean, we were off and running. I lost my first bet of the year immediately. It wasn't even close. I had bet a receiver over 55 receiving yards. He got me 0 receiving yards. So that tip, not listening to that guy anymore, but it was awesome. Saturday, 5 football games, all spread out. It was a little bit of a tough wake up on Sunday, which I had not realized that there were no more even preseason NFL games, but now we're in the mix for the real stuff. You know, it's Tuesday. We're doing this a little bit later, but Thursday night, we have ranked teams. It'll go right into Saturday, and we're going to have football every weekend for like basically forever. You know, for the foreseeable future. Basically forever.
Forever? You missed the band?
Basically.
You want the marching band back?
I love the band.
Why do you
band
love
all the
the
time.
band?
College sports, give me the band.
I'm so annoyed with the band. You know what? It was a tease, though. I will give you this. I tuned in a little bit on Saturday. I'm not even that excited for the year. I would say the only takeaway of college football this year, or of this week, was the proposal of this expanded tournament, which just sounds ridiculous in every aspect of it. I think it was 28 teams. They wanted to expand this tournament. Remember when you used to lose one game and your season didn't matter anymore? We're going to let 28 teams into this playoff? I don't think it'll happen, but it's a proposal that got out there, at least enough for us to, I don't know, ridicule. Do you know anyone who was like, yeah, 28, let's do it?
This is just getting mixed around. These are the different conferences that are trying to get more of their teams in, so they're all doing, it's all posturing. And I'm not concerned about it.
Yeah, let's let the big league guys get the 7 spots, and I got problems with all of it. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Today we're going to talk a little bit more NFL. We're going to conclude our division predictions, talking the AFC and NFC South. Boy, are these some exciting divisions, Zach. I'm desperate for some football, but boy, these ones are going to be the hard games to watch. Am I crazy for saying that there's? I mean, how many playoff wins are within these divisions? Let's just start with that. Go look at the teams. How many playoff wins are in? There's 4 and 4 here. How many playoff wins do we get?
1.
All right. High expectations. I looked at these overs, the over-unders. We've been doing that for the past couple of weeks, and it's a little tricky when every team is 7.5, basically. Does that make it a little bit harder how you think this is going to play out?
I mean, just to give you, this is just, I just kind of randomly picked another division, you know, one of the better ones, but, you know, we started off with the NFC East. The total for the over-under on wins for that one is 35. The over-under for AFC South wins is 30.5. So almost a win less per team on average.
Yeah. So I had a hard time really being convinced of any real threats here, and let alone sorting out of like, all right, so this all 4 of them are not great. Which one's better? Which one's terrible? And who's in the middle? I don't think it's clearly obvious to this. I just think that Houston up top of the AFC South makes probably the most sense, and is probably what you would be most comfortable with any of this. And it's only just because I think they're bringing back some success of last year. A lot of these teams had to make changes of last year because they weren't that good. Now, I'm giving Houston credit for bringing everything back from last year. Maybe they should have made some changes. I mean, what's the ceiling of this team? Like, was it last year? Are we building off of this? Like, this is a weird team too, that I think they're just slightly better than these other 3, but not actually a team I take seriously.
I just want it noted that we started with the best because that was like the deepest into summer content, and now we're the closest, so we're just excited. And we have, there's more going on. But you're just talking about the Texans out of these 2 divisions of like, and I agree with you. Yeah, I think are probably, I don't know, you could probably argue between the Texans or the Buccaneers are farther ahead, but it's at least an argument. They are the best to win the Super Bowl out of these 2 divisions at 25-1. Like, not even in the mix. Houston is hoping to make the playoffs. That's what they're looking for. That's a successful season for them.
Over under
I would
9.5.
say that combined with, is CJ Stroud for real? It came in and it was, ooh, CJ Stroud is for real. And then it kind of, I don't know, I feel like it wavered. Do you think it wavered a little bit?
I do think it wavered a little bit. I think they kind of committed. They made some serious moves that I think were trusting and giving him weapons. And some injuries definitely got in the way, and that's a bit of a problem. But I look at the disaster of the rest of this division here that they've been able to take advantage of, and they haven't really done anything with it. And it's starting to amount to a little bit, well, what is the common factor? It seems like it's him. And I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. I would still take him over all the other quarterbacks in this division.
It's not even close, right?
Not even close, but it's not. I don't think he's a lock though. Like we're not going to the Hall of Fame game with he's not. We got a lot of steps to go. Let's see if he can even be, better than half the quarterbacks of this league. Like I still think there's time. I still think there's hope. I just think a lot of the other teams are very hopeless, and like this is barely a 10-win team, and yet they're by far the favorite to win this AFC South. I
have them at 1 for sure.
You got the over on the 9.5 because I think 10-7 is they're going to win this division. I don't know what it's going to take out of like the other. We're going to get to the other teams, but they're going to need at least 10 wins to win this division, right? Like they can't win this with 9.
I think some weird stuff could happen, but I think that I think Stroud. I have enough faith that there's something there that they can go the over and get to double-digit wins.
Or 10-7 last year.
We're going to go into the quarterbacks on the rest of these teams.
So they were 10-7 last year. If they are going to hit the over barely, which is what I think will happen, they'll be 10-7 again this year. And what is that? I don't know if they need to make drastic moves, but that's fine. Are we going to hang those banners, maybe? The division ones?
I mean, the AFC South only has so much.
Well, I know another team that's actually hung some banners for some ridiculous things, and that is the Indianapolis Colts, who I actually think will finish second in this division. They are going to be starting Daniel Jones. And the only advantage of this is that they're going to have a new quarterback and probably a better defense than they had last year. And at least if Daniel Jones doesn't work, they could at least go to Anthony Richardson. Versus the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to continue with Trevor Lawrence. And I think that's part of the problem and the main problem. So I think that I'm just leaning a little bit more belief in Colts, and we'll get to Tennessee, but I'm buying in that Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson will be a better combination than whatever Trevor Lawrence and Liam Cohen, the new coach, cook up this year.
Now, it's been a little bit, and it's a pretty common name, but this is the same Daniel Jones from a couple of years ago who played for the Giants, right? It's not a different guy because, like I said, common name, you could easily get confused.
What has Trevor Lawrence done to say like he's totally outweighed this Daniel Jones reputation?
I am not saying that this is some sort of home run, but I am leaning Jaguars over the Colts in this one. And I think it is because I think the expectations for Trevor Lawrence are a little bit higher. Actually, they're much higher than they have been for Daniel Jones. Majority of his career, maybe the beginning, for Daniel Jones, he definitely had some bright spots. But I just think that if Trevor Lawrence plays out he has played, even though you look at it and go, that's not very good, that is still quite a bit better than if Daniel Jones plays the way that he's played. And to add on top of that, I think that the Jags hired Liam Cohen, and we've seen this before. And I don't think we think about it all the way of, we see like polished head coaches and in all the sports where they do these addresses all the time. And so they get good at it. Well, when you have a brand new guy come in and he got hired for a reason, but speaking in front of the media is not something that necessarily comes as a strength for everybody. And so I think that came off as goofy. So I think everyone is underrating his ability as a head coach across the board because of one press conference that was a little bit goofy. So I'm just thinking there's a little bit room for improvement over what the general consensus is as putting that line at 7.5.
I agree with you that I think Liam Cohen is going to be a good coach and that he had a ton of success with Baker last year. I just think if you look at last year, the Jacksonville Jaguars were 4-13. The Colts were 8-9. And that was with an awful season of Anthony Richardson. And that if they just had a semi-decent, balanced, average quarterback, which is what the nicest thing you could describe Daniel Jones as, that I think they're going to be a superior team than whatever Jacksonville is going to cook up because they're stuck with Trevor Lawrence and they're stuck with Travis Etienne, two of guys that I'm not very high on. I wouldn't draft them fantasy-wise. We could talk fantasy with all these teams, but they aren't like, I like Brian Thomas. I'm excited what Travis Hunter's going to do. That's going to be like some groundbreaking sort of stuff that I don't think you're going to see happen frequently. But
do you think that's actually going to have, like, is that going to be more steak or sizzle?
I think it's cool.
We're for sure going to hear about it. I mean, we're hearing so much about Shedeur Sanders, and he's a 4th round, and he, just being connected to that Colorado team and connected to Deion Sanders, like, gets you in the news, where Travis Hunter actually has some ability. But I'm just wondering, is it going to be red zone cuts in because, Travis Hunter broke up a pass where it's like, yeah, no, that's his job. That's what he's supposed to do. Or is it, hey, this guy that they were able to draft is actually like worth, it's like they got 2 guys and 1 pick.
I think they got 2 guys for 1 pick.
Okay.
I think he's going to be really good. Like, I don't know if the team's going to be good. And again, he might look bad on one of the possessions because of the rest of the team around him. I mean, you think the rest of the team around him is great here? I mean, fantasy-wise, like, everyone's like all in on Brian Thomas. That's fine. I don't know if I would draft Travis Hunter. I don't know if I would be investing in Tank Bigsby. Like, these are do you think this team is going to be better than what the Colts got with, Josh Downs, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman? Like, I'd rather, yes. I don't know.
Yes, there's a reason that Daniel Jones was close to being out of the league, where Trevor Lawrence has continued to at least be a starting quarterback.
All right. So you think Trevor Lawrence will be significantly better under this offensive mind in Liam Cohen? That the system is just going to open the gates.
Not significantly better. He will be better than Daniel Jones.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's the bar.
Well, his over-under is 7.5.
Daniel Jones.
They're both 7.5 is what I had for the Colts and the Jaguars.
So we got it flipped.
Well, I may have them second, but I took the under for both of them.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I think we're looking at like an 8-9 season again for the Colts, and I think for Jackson, that's best case scenario. But if we're gonna hit the under, it's 7. So like, I think we're hitting the under on these. I think that both these teams are under 7 wins. What about these teams makes you think that they're like even close to double digits? They're going to be lucky to get 7 wins.
That they get to play the rest of the AFC South.
I think they're just as vulnerable. And you know what else? We're all crossing off Tennessee right now as if that's going to make this division the softness. All right, I think we just talked about the soft teams. If anything, Tennessee Titans might be one of the tougher teams here. Cam Ward is a new quarterback, and there's a new threat, and possibly that's enough to dethrone these. Trevor Lawrence and Daniel Jones. Cam Ward might already be better than these guys, and I haven't even seen him play a real game. Like, you're just crossing off Tennessee. We're comfortable with that. 5.5 is the over under.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance.
Bad.
Yeah.
Did you see? No, you didn't. You didn't watch any college football last year.
I watched more than I did the years before.
If Cam Ward was in the draft before this, like, it's not even close.
But the Mayo guy was so bad before this, like, terrible. Like, you think he's just going to be the same thing? Like they're better than they were last year, and it's still far from what they need to be. But I think he's immediately better than whatever they had last year.
I think you bring in a rookie quarterback that probably shouldn't be starting. It should probably be, you have a veteran in there, work on it, and then, all right, season's going terribly as predicted, and now we've seen enough. They've got enough reps. Okay, you've figured out how game day works. Then he gets put in. But there were injuries. They're not able to do that, so they're just throwing him right in. I could easily see this being, we are, making the turn from September into October. The Saturdays are actually, getting brisk. You're putting on a hoodie, and they're going, nope, Cam is not the guy. We are already looking to, all right, we are tanking in who's playing on Saturday that we can pick for next year.
All right, so the guy that we haven't seen play, you're already crossing off, and the guy I've seen too much play, and Trevor Lawrence and Daniel Jones, they're in. They're fine. They're in. I just like the potential that he could be better, and that he could actually be.
What would you rather have, a rowboat or what's in the mystery box? Might even be a rowboat.
I like the hope that mystery box could be something better than what the other guys already clearly are, and that we're hoping that they're able to duplicate bad seasons just so they could be moderately successful. All right, fantasy.
Trevor Lawrence had success in college. Cam Ward, yeah. Huh?
All right, it's a fair argument here. All right, we didn't really talk fantasy for anyone, so let's go one by one here. Houston Texans. Is there anyone you're targeting fantasy wise?
I've got Nico Collins at 13, underrated. I love it. I think CJ is going to just beat him. I think there's going to be whatever non-garbage time is for when they're playing in the AFC South, and then when they're outside the AFC South, you're going to look down and go, oh man, Nico not really playing so well today. And then you're going to go up and grab a snack and come back, and he's going to have 20 points for you in garbage time.
I think I would only touch Nico Collins. I don't want anyone else. Yeah, Christian Kirk, I'm sure there's a scenario with that. I mean, this Nick Chubb, Dameon Pierce, Joe Mixon look like he's going to be out for a little bit. I don't trust that. CJ might have to run for a lot of yards this year, and maybe fantasy wise that'll add up, but that's not what I like about him. I think he's got to air it out to Collins a whole lot here, and hopefully the defenses across this division are so bad.
I feel like you more often get a backup later in his career that goes somewhere else that maybe gets more run that pops, rather than you have a guy that used to be the number one that has kind of got older in his career and has gone somewhere else to then almost like repop. Like I don't know.
Well, when Mixon was healthy, I thought he was pretty good last year. But again, when Mixon is healthy,
and that's where
we're at. All right, Indianapolis Colts. Any fantasy people here? Is there anyone?
Colts. I think Michael Pittman is underrated. I think he's kind of got like a bland name. He's been around for a while. Everybody's had him on their team. I don't think that he's going to lead the league or anything. But at 77, I think that you could get some value.
I would draft their defense when they play the Jaguars and the Titans. That's what I would take.
Fair.
Fantasy wise. Josh Downs is a personal favorite, but again, you're just dependent on the wrong stuff, and I suppose late enough if you want to take a chance, that's an option there. But I would only touch the defense on the Colts. Jacksonville, maybe tank. I mean, Travis Hunter would be fun. Look, all right, I like the story. I would love to tune in. I would love to be like, hey man, he ran back a pick six today or something.
No, you wouldn't. You don't get points for that.
It would still be fun.
Yeah, I put it 64 overrated, just because exactly what I just said. He gets a pick six and you're feeling awesome, like, oh, he scored a touchdown. No, that's for the defense. Do you have the Jack defense? No, and it just seems like there's just, you're out there, for argument's sake, quotes twice as much. You have twice as much chances to get hurt. So I would prefer stay away.
Ryan Thomas Jr. Anything? Yeah. All right. See, this is Trevor Lawrence.
I think there's just always garbage time opportunity here.
He's gonna eat it up. I mean, I'm kind of in on Neighbors at just getting fed everything. He's gonna get fed everything here because I just told you the running game. What are they gonna do with that? Tons of targets.
Brian Thomas is at 14. And so that's in between Nico and AJ Brown. And I trust those other offenses just way more.
All right. And then the Tennessee Titans. It's really
Titans. I'm going Tony Pollard at 70. I'm thinking this team is going to have to run the ball to help out Cam Ward, as well as news just came out earlier today. So a little bit cheating on this one because probably that ADP is going to go better because Tajay Spears got hurt.
All right. Breaking news. I see everyone interested in Calvin Ridley. I don't want it. Like what's going to be better from last year to this year that's suddenly like is that just a target thing again? Like how many times do you think this team's really going to be throwing the ball? So many 3-and-outs. It's going to be hard.
Yeah. I think it's more of a name from a few years ago. I realize he's not old, but just I think the name sounds cooler than what you're gonna get, and you're gonna be more frustrated.
All right, time for the real excitement. The NFC South, Zach. Hold back the applause. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers were 10-7 last year, and I think this team again is the most likely to continue off of last year because of what they brought back. They still have Baker, they still have Todd Bowles, Mike Evans. They drafted this rookie receiver that's supposed to be a big deal. They will have a new offensive coordinator with Liam Cohen not being there, but I'm supposed to trust the new quarterback for Atlanta and Penix, the Bryce Young's third, fourth year. I don't even know what year we're on, and New Orleans feels like they fell out of the league, like what, like they're in AAA or something. So I got Baker having a massive year. I would draft him fantasy wise all over the place. Like I really think Baker has a chance to put up what I would say are MVP numbers, but they're just not going to be MVP wins. But sometimes that might be enough to get some momentum. And fantasy, who cares about any of that? It's just numbers. So I would be all in on Tampa. I think they're over at 9.5 is a safe over, and that they are likely going to be like a 12-5 team is my prediction. What do you think for the NFC South? Who's up top?
I think the Bucs are at the top. I think that Baker Mayfield is overrated, and I think that they're going to be under the 9.5.
Whoa. We're going under?
Baker was phenomenal last year. Phenomenal in fantasy. Like, I think now it's getting priced in, like, oh, well, he's going to be near there, and I don't think we've seen in his history that he has that sort of consistency.
I think this is the year where the consistency finally kicks in. And it might just be a fantasy numbers thing where it doesn't exactly translate to wins. So, but I do still think I trust this team more than, like, you're trusting Atlanta more than this team?
No, I still have him at number 1.
Yeah, so they're going to be fine. Like, Baker's going to, this is almost like the perfect division for Baker to be in, where he can have those Baker games where he's not perfect. There's plenty of baked in ones here where you can have some bad games and still get a win. All right, I got Atlanta at 2, though. I couldn't push him any farther. I was supposed to be sold on Bryce Young, third year. Suddenly, this is just going to click, and that's going to be better than, Atlanta's 7-10 last year. You could easily argue that Kirk was just not healthy, and that Penix was a rookie, just not ready, and that this year should start a hell of a lot smoother than last year. And if they were 7-10 last year, only got to get 7.5 to get the over. This team should technically be improved. I'm not really threatened by any of them, but I kind of agree with all those improvements. Like, it's not great, but it should be better, right?
I think that they're going to be under. I saw the over under at 8. I think they're going to be under. I think that the Falcons, Panthers, and even the Saints, like, they're going to be a little more bunched together.
All right. I had the under at 7. I think they get 7 wins.
Why are you so in on Cam Ward, but not so much on Michael Penix, who actually got some run last year? Or you didn't like what you saw?
It's not that. I'm more skeptical of Drake London, and if I got to hear Kyle Pitts talked about as if he ever reached our expectation, it's not going to happen. Like, he's not that guy. Like, he's fine, but he's not a name that needs to be mentioned or talked about like that at all until there's a season that's worth talking about. So I'm not going to talk about him like there's a weapon here. Bajan, actually, I think he corrected. There's a pronunciation of that. It's not Bijan. I think it's Bajan. It's great, but I'm just not entirely sold on this offense either, even with Penix. I just don't know if the weapons are great. Like, what is spectacular about this team? Is it Penix is supposed to be the biggest attraction?
I like Drake London. I think at 16, I think he's underrated.
Maybe. I mean, what if he gets hurt and Kirk comes back in and Kirk is suddenly good again? Like, because Kirk was just injured last year. Is there any possibility of that? Like, I know we aged him out last year, just blaming that. But
I mean, the whole way that worked of, hey, we're gonna sign Kirk Cousins and then we're gonna draft Michael Penix. Like, what are you doing? And then Kirk did get hurt, and now going with Penix. But if you go in this direction, I don't know how there's a possibility that, like, Penix's career continues successfully on the Falcons. I think if you make that switch back to Kirk, like, you've kind of ended that experiment.
All right, are we rebuilding this year, or is this team an actual playoff contender? You think they're under, so...
The Falcons?
Yes.
It's completely rebuilding.
All right. That shouldn't be...
Their over-under is 8.
Just checking. There were 7 wins last year. I just thought, are we taking a step forward or a step back? You seem to think Penix is a step forward, yet the team is going to take a step back.
At least, like, the same.
And that's still not great. But it's probably better than the next team, the Carolina Panthers, who were 2-15 last year, have an over-under on 6.5. I'm not sure they're going to hit that either. I mean, think 6 wins would be 4 wins over last year. That's an incredible improvement. It's still under the 6.5.
Right? Yeah.
Bryce Young, man, are we in or are we out? And does it really matter? Like, is this one of those things where maybe he needs to shift teams, a new change of scenery is the only real hope he has? Or is this the year he figures it out, that they have found their franchise guy?
I'm going under. I would like to see it go well for him, but it was consensus that he was done and that he was out of the league. And then a car crash with Andy Dalton gets him back in the mix, and he shows some flashes. He was done. It wasn't just me. It wasn't just, hot take artists. It was just pretty much consensus. It seemed to be around the team, around the league of, yeah, he just doesn't have it. Kind of a swing and a miss, high draft pick. Like, shoot, oh well. Like, all right, on to the next one. Hopefully that works out better than this. So, I totally agree with you on. Hey, you can improve by 4 wins from last year, and you're still going to be at the under.
I think they'll have Bryce Young play the whole year. I think he'll start next year as well. I think they'll get 6 wins. It's still under, which is a huge improvement of last year. So, like, what are we crying about here? It's just that the rest of this division is still not that great, and you're like, great, we got the 6 wins, and man, there are levels to this. You barely have accomplished some basic ones, and that's before we even talk about the New Orleans Saints here, who will have a new coach and likely a new quarterback. Do you know the quarterback depth chart by any chance for the New Orleans Saints?
I believe it starts with Spencer Rattler, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well,
which I don't know. I can't. Maybe you can help me out with this. I don't think it's a quarterback name, but like this is like a movie character name. Like, who is the movie? Like, what character in a movie is this for?
Con Air.
As one of the convicts?
Maybe Rattler could also be, maybe he's working for the jail or he's a guard. Maybe it's a guard name, tough guard name. I don't know.
I'm thinking some sort of like American Southwest. I haven't quite put it together, but not quite a cowboy, but some sort of modern cowboy, and maybe he used to be a big deal, but now he's older, kind of washed up. But the young people have to go. You got to go in the woods, and we got to go find Spencer Rattler. We need him. We need him to help us out.
Well, this is the most interesting thing we've ever talked about with Spencer Rattler. Do you want to inform everyone a little bit of his history of where did Spencer Rattler come from and how did he do last year?
I don't believe it was very good.
Oh, all right. That's what I remember too, where this is crazy to me that this team is somehow being stuck with Spencer Rattler, Tyler Shaw, or Jake Hauner. Names I don't know how to pronounce, and maybe I'm not the best college football analyst for those reasons, but still, this is a professional football team that is going into this year with the most important position at quarterback with those 3 guys, and hoping that Spencer Rattler is better. It was almost like
they were surprised that they were going to have a quarterback.
It really is.
Oh, it was somebody like brand new to fantasy football where they kind of got a crash course but didn't realize you need to start all the positions. Oh, okay. And then kind of last minute, like, oh, well, all right. Well, this guy played last year. All right, so he's got some experience. It's like, oh, okay, this is the guy.
I didn't actually even look up their over-under. I just had him at 2 wins. I don't even know if they're going to get that. I don't know if they want that. I mean, what is this team trying to do this year? They're just going to lose as many games as possible, right? Like, this isn't...
It's 4.5, and I'm taking the over just because everyone that I've heard talk about the Saints, everyone has said on every podcast has been, no, the Saints are going to be the worst team. And I'm just... This is just a complete zag. Complete contrarian play right here.
All right, let's do a little fantasy for all these teams here. Let's do New Orleans here while we got anybody. I mean, we touching Alvin Kamara.
I said Kamara was overrated at 38. He's older, especially if the team's not very good. It just seems like, why are you putting miles on this guy? Why does he want to put miles on? And just, I could see in fantasy just keeping an eye out for some of the backups and not even the current backups. Like, this is going to be 6 weeks in and somebody from the practice squad, gets bumped up and it's like, you know what? Just put him on your team just in case.
Anyone on Carolina, Atlanta, or Tampa then? Did we do those?
I said Chuba, I said at 41, he was overrated. I don't know. I think it's because I think a lot of people, they get attracted to names. And I think that name is fun to say. And I think that, not that he's bad, but I just overrated.
I think he's got that DJ Moore kind of numbers where I watch him and I'm like not that impressed by him. But then at the end of the year, I look at the averages and the numbers and it's like, yeah, Chuba, man. Like those are, like if you'd got him at the right price and for certain scenarios, that could be a very, very helpful fantasy player.
I think that's true in the past. I think he was a backup for a while. So as a backup, the expectations are lower and you don't burn people as much. And like I said, his name's fun to say. So when you draft him in your league, you're going to get some oohs and ahs, but I will not be one of the ones that oohs and ahs.
All right, last little NFL update here. Terry McLaurin has signed an extension with the Washington Commanders. Are you a little disappointed that he's not going to New England?
There was no chance. I never had my hopes up.
We were never going to give him that money. We were supposed to give up something and give him that money? Yeah, no way.
It's like he's 30 years old. He's still got some stuff in the tank. He doesn't belong with us. We're still rebuilding. We're trying to figure stuff out. The Commanders have some like legit like hopes for this year to really make a serious run. And he was holding in. I never really thought that there was any doubt that this was just a move to, try to get some attention to make sure, hey, pay me what I'm owed, and I'm going to show up. I want to be with the guys. I don't want to look like a bad teammate, but I'm not going to get hurt accidentally. So just pay me what I want, and let's get out of here.
They're back now, right? Lock them in. What do we think of all these contract holdouts? Like the Dallas thing is clearly crying for attention.
Hold-ins. They're different now.
Hold-ins. What do we think of Dallas and this Micah Parsons? It's clearly just to get attention. So, like, when do we hear about this? This all gets fixed at midnight the night before the season, the day of the season. Because I think he's going to play regardless. Like, I think this is a lock.
I mean, now it's getting pretty close. And I get, being a veteran is different than being younger. But, at some point, there's got to be some, like some chemistry stuff, I would think.
I don't know how long it goes, but I think he's going to play this week or next week. Which, speaking of next week, we're making picks next week.
Buddy. I mean, we're running out of time.
We're doing picks next week.
It's a week and a half.
Every week. Every game, we'll have our picks, who we think is going to win. We're going to give our bet of the week. I wish we had a name. We got to get a sponsor for that kind of stuff. The bet of the week last year, if you were to tally our totals, I believe we were in the green.
I know I was in the green.
I think I was too. It was not like a significant profit, but it certainly wasn't a loss. So, I'm not saying follow us every week, but there are some winners in there.
You are correct. I was just able to pull up the sheet in a panic here. I was 4.7 units ahead. You were 1.82. You definitely have a lot more red on your sheet, but I definitely went more for what I'm going to call traditional over-unders, spreads. So my wins were much smaller, but you definitely had some larger wins. There was a big Terry McLaurin touchdown at 10-1 that cashed in for you. So you were definitely more adventurous.
Boomer bust.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So next week we'll have the picks. Remind everyone to subscribe. Love column A, love column B. You can follow Zach on his X account, which is
Wicked Z-Man 24.
Zach, there's a new ESPN streaming service. I feel like we've talked about this before. But it's here, and it's arrived, and it's being advertised as your home for the most and the best live sports. The most.
Well, kind of. And then immediately it was advertised how now they have a deal with Fox for a joint streaming service. Okay, so now you're like trying to do the math of, all right, so I need this one and this one. You basically need all of them for, for football, and trying to figure out, okay, which bundles do I need? And then just yesterday or earlier today, now Fox and YouTube TV aren't getting along.
Yep.
Okay, now you've put the most pressure on. YouTube TV has agreed if it looks like there's going to be an extended issue, they will give a $10 voucher. So, I mean, better than nothing. I guess I could just say you're out of luck. But I don't love what seems to be an annual tradition of football is about to start, and we are going to start arguing now. And I get why they do it. It gets the most attention. Even before NFL on Fox starts, the Ohio State, Texas, huge top 3 matchup to start the year is on Fox noon, like this Saturday. And I just don't like, as a fan, that I'm being held hostage.
Again, this isn't the first time. I feel like we're being held hostage.
No. Like I said, it seems like it happens on an annual basis, and I know it's not crazy to say I don't like being a hostage, because I don't think there's a single hostage that has been like, awesome, I'm a hostage, but
I don't know. I've been watching Homeland. You'd be shocked.
I'm not the tough guy that became a hostage on purpose. I don't think that happens very often.
I don't know.
Is the deal figured out by Saturday, or is this going to go past Saturday?
I think Friday night a deal will be done, but I also think if you were to, cut your ties and your losses.
The quote deadline is tomorrow.
Yeah, well.
But this is all businessy stuff. So, like, it's not like we're playing a sport where there are like hard and fast rules. It's all right. These are contracts between big companies of all right, get the lawyers together and hey, we're going to extend this 24 hours because we're really close to making a deal.
Well, I'll tell you what, if it doesn't get done before Saturday, it'll get done after Saturday because you and the loud crowd and the marching band are going to get together and say, hey, we can't have this. And they're going to have to get it fixed because there's going to be a raging crowd with pitchforks just upset that they weren't able to get this YouTube TV thing figured out, that they already paid for, that they've already subscribed for, and they're not able to watch the game, and that they're going to have to get something else to watch the game on a channel that's supposed to be free too, by the way, in this basic, Fox thing. It's this so that we don't have the bunny ears anymore, so that you got to buy an app and a service to get it, and this is supposed to be one of the apps and the services, and now they're being selective on which ones they play nice with because they got money from ESPN to go over there, and they want YouTube TV to match the money they just got that they sold their channels to over there. I get it, but it's all just how can we make the most money and complicate the most things. Not for us. This is just for.
I mean, I get that's capitalism. You're trying to make the most money possible, but I think you're gonna lose people. You're gonna lose people along the way, and it is for sure getting more and more complicated.
Now, the worst part is that they're just dying too. Like this is a dying business in Fox. That's why they have to scrape for every single, possibility of leverage they can get because they're not getting any more with basic cable. These things are being devalued, and once they get good value out of it, they realize the current deal they need to get more. It's sinking. All right. Anything else with that, or any other sort of streaming services? It's gonna wrap things up.
No more streaming service stuff.
Wrap things up with a little NBA talk here. We have John Wall retiring, which does that mean his just giant contract finally finished out and that he's no longer being paid not to play?
I mean, it makes sense. First half of his career was definitely a lot more exciting than the tail end of his career, but one of the early one and dones at Cal's Kentucky, which now that Cal is gone, but I mean, now it feels like forever ago, but definitely an exciting player. Tough being on the Wizards, but I think there was a stretch where that John Wall, Bradley Beal duo, really thought that they were going to make some noise in the East, but kind of ran up against the Tatum Celtics and or not Tatum Celtics actually.
That's Isaiah Thomas. Kind of the Tatum, more Isaiah Thomas.
Kind of before that, and of course LeBron's there pretty much the whole time, so just really never get over the hump. But yeah. I mean, you really want to go deep into the Kelly Olynyk Celtics Game 7 there, but I thought his career, both college and NBA, was worth. I know it's way late, and he hasn't played in a while, and hasn't played meaningfully even longer than that. But I thought that he was good enough that it was worth mentioning, especially with the news coming out in the summertime.
Great player, great dance. I don't know how long that'll live on. Maybe that's the legacy here. The other NBA news I've got is Malik Beasley has been cleared, or at least is not the main suspect of the gambling investigation anymore. He's no longer the target. How am I supposed to phrase this? He's not cleared then?
I am like you. I told you, because I saw the news. It's like, that's great news. And mentioned it to you, all right. And I also saw the same thing, that he is no longer the target. Well, if you're no longer the target, that sounds like, hey, you're good to go. But then I read an article today. Oh, no. He is no longer the target. So he is no longer the main guy in the sights, but that he could still be charged. He is still not out of the woods. So I also thought, oh, awesome. He's going to be in the clear. He's going to sign. But this sure sounds like this is going to continue. I am wondering if it was initially he was in a Jante Porter situation where he said, hey guys, yeah, you know what? I'm not feeling so great tonight. So you might want to bet my unders. And I'm wondering now if there's somebody else that's a target. And based on some of the other stories coming out about how he owes X amount for multiple debts, if there is some sort of organized crime element to this, and someone got a hold of him and said, hey, you will score this many points today, and it's that he was being coerced into something. I don't know, but that's just putting my my TV hat on and what's the most drama, and that's what I'm wondering.
There's drama everywhere from what I saw, and this is internet rumors. I don't even know how much of this is true fact here, but from my understanding, the suspicious day of which there was a spike on a high amount of gambling bets placed on his unders, that he hit the over that day. So like this day that he's suspicious of, that suddenly a bunch of people just bet his unders, that he hit all the overs that day. They didn't even win. So like I'm sure there are other days that could be suspicious, but to my understanding, the investigation showed that the day that they were suspicious of, where there was a spike on his bets on the unders, that he actually hit the overs on all of them, and that he might have literally had nothing to do with anything.
I have to imagine it was multiple days.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Like if you're doing this, I don't think this is I'm going to do this once. It's all right. I'm going to do this, and all right, yeah. Actually, it doesn't seem like anybody's like paying attention. Like I think we're good. We're really. I mean, it's not exactly this way, but it's basically you went into into the store, went out, and no alarms went off. No security guards came over, and he's like, I think we're pretty good. Meanwhile, like you're on crystal clear video, and it's just all right. Let's see. All right, what else are they going to take? How many more times are they going to step over this line?
All right, but what if they go back and they look and they just tally all these gambles that are supposedly inside jobs, and they were like, these guys ended up losing money on all this. Like it still didn't work. Like even if you were to add them all up,
that doesn't matter.
Is that still illegal? Yeah, it's still all right.
You can't gamble. You can't gamble. If you're in the NBA, you can't gamble on the NBA, even if you're bad at it. I mean, it's way worse because it's like, oh, so you ruined your career, your reputation, your multi-million-dollar contract to then lose even more money? Like,
yeah, this is why I told you he has more problems than just the legal problems. He owes a ton of money to a lot of people, and that this was a terrible thing for his name, not only because it's costing him his main contract in the NBA that he no longer can even accept the offer from
he's still a free agent.
He's going to be a free agent for much longer because there's no money left. All these other teams have signed up. The only team that could afford to give him the money that Detroit had promised him weeks and months ago is Brooklyn. There are no other teams with cap space for him. So he's either, if he wants that money, he's got to go to Brooklyn and convince Brooklyn to want him, for one. More likely is he's going to go somewhere on a budget now, of which this next year, hopefully he's able to play to earn the money he's going to then have to make next year and sign another new contract, of which all this stuff is not over. And it's all going to be dragged in.
And this is assuming that he's not charged. But say, like, let's go with the headline, the way we understood it, of he's no longer the target, like free and clear. Well, that's from legal, where it's like, that's never good. That doesn't mean that the NBA isn't doing their own investigation saying, hey, you're just even flirting with this, and we want no part of this because we want to keep all of this gambling money that we're making. So we want to make sure that there is no concern from people that are gambling saying, hey, this is all rigged. I'm not going to spend my money. So he might get suspended anyway.
Do you think anyone will sign him?
I think he's good enough. So if he is no longer under investigation and cleared, and really like the legal part is done, then yeah, I think he's good enough. That we're like Jonte Porter, like he was a bench guy.
I'm more viewing it. All right, let's put the.
What was Malik, number 2 for 6 man of the year? I mean, that's a legit rotation player. That, especially on the cheap, yeah, there'll be teams willing to take a risk on that. That's put their best guy on him and say,
my argument.
Hey, no gambling. We'll gamble on other stuff that we can gamble on, but like no basketball, like no sports. But we'll go to the casino every night. Whatever you need to get these juices flowing.
Well, one team is going to get a good deal from him. Is there a team you'd like to put him on? Like, is it now it's suddenly like almost fair game that I think almost any team can get him, because I think his contract is going to be so minimal.
I think he's in trouble with the NBA. I don't think he's going to play a full season this year.
All right. That's possible. But again, if you're like Denver and he just shows up for the second half and it costs you nothing, and then next year, even if it doesn't work out this year, he's just gone next year. What's the loss here? Like, you might be potentially adding a 3-point shooter for nothing. Like,
6 man.
I wonder what teams are.
Yeah, that's what I say. I think that he's good enough that teams, if he is not suspended for the season or for his career, will take a shot at him.
So it's just the Lakers.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, probably, right? Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, for the minimum, the extra minimum, whatever the Laker minimum is.
All right, let's play the outro. Goddamn Lakers.
The LeBron minimum.
The LeBron friend favor. There was some F1 news today. Is this big news? What is there not a Cadillac team already?
No, so this is a brand new team. It's been in the works for a little bit. So it is not usual, I mean, this is expansion. This is just like any of the other major sports. This is expansion. So the big news for, at least for me, and should be for you, is Cadillac, the new owner. It's an American team. There were rumors that they were going to have at least one American driver. That is not the case. I think that was a smart move. They came in. It was announced this morning. It is Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez. These are both guys that are not currently racing this year. The best way I would say is these guys are on the tail end of their career, but I think for a brand new expansion team, this is exactly what you're looking for. You don't want rookies. You don't want guys that are trying to like start their career, and the other teams are going to poach them. Where these are guys, we were looking to get our car, our whole team set up. So it wasn't surprising news. There was talk about this like the past week or so, but it is good, and I'm interested. And if you're an American and you're saying, hey, like this F1 stuff, it's all European and other foreign teams, Cadillac, American team.
Yeah, I've seen Ricky Bobby. Formula. Yeah, I've seen
exactly. Yeah, there you go.
No, this will be good. This will be there's clearly momentum behind all this. The Netflix thing is a big deal. So, I
mean, Netflix did all of the other sports things based off the Drive to Survive success.
It's true. So you think this will be this is going to work, or are we just suddenly now the American soccer team?
Oh, this is going to be much closer to the American soccer team.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was expecting, but it's all right. We got to start somewhere. At least we're not there.
You have to start somewhere. And what's different with more traditional sports, it's, hey, if you can get the best athletes, you put them together, and you're probably going to have one of the better teams. Where this is, you have to have the racers and you have to have the car. So it's like two different sides of it. So you need like the engineers to figure this out, and these teams have been together for forever. So it's almost like a little bit of like the cat management, and we have to do all of the cat management and figuring that part out. It's a brand new team. We are not going to be successful for a long time, but there's different expectations for different teams. So just getting it started, that's a step in the right direction.
Big step in the right direction. We'll be back next Tuesday with our picks and the start of the NFL season, Zach. Next week.
Little column A, little column B.